Well, how about some more positivity? Not only is Nakobe Dean back for the Eagles, but it's better news than we may have realized. Plus, A.J. Brown said exactly what was needed to the media and is still in favor of Kevin Patullo. Just saying, the squad is clearly banding together. Meanwhile, great news that Dallas Goedert was back at practice and Grant Calcaterra was nowhere to be found. So let's talk about that, all the latest injury updates, and everything else around the Birds. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? The Eagles got better news than we may all have realized. Of course, the obvious one was hearing A.J. Brown finally address the speculation about him being upset and not wanting to be in Philly.
Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that, posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. Not my coaches, not my quarterback. My GM, nobody, like I said, I take full accountability. I have an open communication with all my coaches and with my quarterback as well. Me and my coaches, KP, Nick, we discuss weekly about trying to get this thing on the same page. And I think it's fair to have that frustration. But like I said, I just can't let that boil over.
I want you to put the word out there that we back up.
Look, maybe that's overkill and I'm getting too hyped about this, but I got to give props to AJ. Yes, I realize he created this mess in the first place, but there are some guys who wouldn't take accountability and publicly admit they were wrong for how they handled things. Which, by the way, is one of the many reasons Jason Kelce shared recently that not only does he know AJ, but that AJ is not a selfish player. It's just that sometimes the emotions get the better of him and he lashes out.
That was an overreaction.
Be honest, during the game or hanging out on one of the live streams, how many times do you say something that you regret? At the same time, yes, he's in a higher elevated position, and both sides can be true. Does AJ need to learn and not keep having these instances pop up? Yes. Just like some unnecessary Twitter beef with a radio personality that popped up not too long ago shouldn't really happen. However, I don't know if this is me giving him too much grace, but when I hear a team captain like that admit his mistakes, then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Plus, as for those saying AJ's on his way out, he wanted to clear that up too.
Are you happy here?
Absolutely. This is home. This is my home. Unfortunately, I did it to myself, I won't even say unfortunately, I did it to myself. But this is my home, man. I love it here, But you just see frustration because, obviously, we want to be great. And most definitely, I want to be great as well.
I'm telling you, the winning vibes are on this team. They've got the pieces, and I will keep saying that. Now, speaking of winning pieces, I'm going to be giving away a rare BG relic card from Jordan Spector of Spector Sports Art. All you got to do is go down to the comments section right now and type in BG. I mean, these things are legit limited editions with actual pieces of BG's jersey and cleats put into the card, so you know you're getting something that's one of one. Like I say, just enter BG in the comments for your chance to win, or you can get your hands on them today by clicking the link in the description and going to SpectorSportsArt.com. Also, while you're doing that, shout out to Jordan for the amazing pieces all season long, which we're giving away. And these two, on the last video, which I announced, these two are going to Mames571. So, Mames, I'm assuming I'm saying that correctly, but I need you to email me or DM me on one of the socials so I can confirm it's you and get these shipped out to you. Okay, just like Jordan's art, the players tell you a lot more than you may realize off the field. I know, I get it, the weekly word salad from Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo gets old pretty quickly. Thankfully, that's not the case when you listen to most of the players, though. Yes, they're not satisfied about the offense, but the biggest reason I'm not punting on the OC or things getting turned around is because the players still believe in this offense.
Got to stay together and band together. Stay committed and true to the collective of going out there and playing, team offense and continue to put points on the board.
I'm sorry, for so many reasons, this is not 2023. And I know that I continue to say that on the live streams, on the videos, but there was just a disconnectedness. There was something totally different. You see Jalen Hurts watch that with the play calling. It's not even in the same stratosphere. Still, for the millionth time, even your dog at this point knows A.J. Brown needs to get the ball and Kevin Patullo needs to be more aggressive. However, I legit believe that A.J. is confident in things picking up eventually. After all, let's not forget he was probably the biggest KP supporter out of anyone on the entire offense this past offseason.
They need to understand everything has to change. I know we just won, but it has to change. We have to get better, and we have to do things different. But I truly feel like it's a great hire. He already has been involved in almost everything. Him, Kellen, and Nick basically called the plays already. So, it's a great hire, and he's already familiar with us. We have a great relationship, and he knows what we need to work on because he's been there, and he's been there for a while. And like I said, he's already been a part of all the situations and the conversations and everything. So I think it's a great hire.
I know it wasn't on the defense, but it kind of makes me feel similarities to 2023 when Jonathan Gannon left. Remember, just about all the guys were clamoring for Denard Wilson to take over at DC. But hindsight's 2020, and we ultimately got Vic Fangio the next year, so maybe it was for the best. Still, I think there's something to be said for a guy that the team still believes in, even if he needs to make some serious changes. By the way, you may not agree with that, but I would argue at least the fact of if the players were not bought in, then we would get some anonymous report. I know that AJ said he's frustrated. Sure, he's voicing some frustrations, but you would get more of those like backdoor conversations, the anonymous reports like we had in 2023 of saying, the team doesn't feel like they have respect for a coach or a coordinator or that he's out of his element, he can't call plays. We're not hearing any of that. A lot of y'all know this too, but my personal concern level for KP is probably equal to the O-line play up to this point. Heck, in just one season, the O-line went from elite to poor.
We're being so dramatic.
Okay, you're right. I believe in them to turn things around, but shout out to Scott Barrett because Jalen Hurts has faced quick pressure on 26% of his dropbacks, which is the highest rate of any quarterback. Whereas for additional perspective, and in case you're curious, Trevor Lawrence is the least amount pressured at 5.3%. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you have on offense. That changes things. I mean, think about it this way, right? So you have average offenses get 60 to 80 plays per game. The Eagles probably 60 because, they take longer possessions and things like that. But let's say 60 for the sake of the argument, right? So Jalen Hurts, out of 60 snaps, is getting pressured 26% of the time, which is basically 15 plays. So 15 plays, not just pressure, quick pressures. That means the play's pretty much ruined. I mean, it's not what you were planning on. So pretty much ruined there. 15 of the 60 plays. Now, you take Trevor Lawrence's percentage there, that's an equivalent of 3 plays. So when Jalen Hurts has 15 botched plays, Trevor Lawrence is only dealing with 3 of those per game. I'm sorry, that's 12 plays difference. That's a whole drive. That's at least a score. And yet the Eagles are still 4-0. They need to figure out things, but the O-line is a significant part of that.
Yeah, I got to rethink this whole thing. I didn't trust it before, but I got to say now I do.
I may die on this hill, but get the trenches fixed and watch what happens to this offense. And that's not even getting into the running game. Granted, I talked about that more in depth in my last video, but it does seem like the Eagles could finally be making the switch we wanted them to all along. After multiple beat writers shared that Grant Calcaterra was nowhere to be seen at Thursday's practice. I guess my argument is, how is that different than what he's doing on Sundays? Anyway, the benefit would be that he doesn't self-sabotage the ground attack anymore, although Howie Roseman did shuffle up the roster ahead of Denver by signing defensive tackle Jacob Sykes, edge KJ Henry to the practice squad, while also releasing cornerback Eli Ricks and edge Antoine Powell-Ryland. Now, when it comes to the injury reports, shout out to Anthony, but you can stay up to date on all things for both teams by going to thephillyspecialshow.com. For the Broncos, both edge Nick Bonito and linebacker Alex Singleton were full participants on Thursday's practice, and then wide receiver Marvin Mims was limited with an ankle injury, while tight end Nate Adkins was also limited coming off a concussion, and edge Jonah Ellis got in some limited work with a rib injury. Honestly, not big surprises there, but we did get one with Denver's starting right guard Quinn Meinerz popping up as a DNP due to an illness. And FYI, if you aren't up on Meinerz, he's coming off an all-pro season last year, so kind of speaks for itself, but is one of their best players at the position. Of course, I should point out that Sean Payton was asked about it and said he's not too worried about Meinerz playing. Yet you think about it, even if he plays but he's not 100%, that could mean some extra opportunities for guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Yeah, it's just the beginning, we're not at our full potential. I don't think we're going to get there until it's time for us to retire and be like, we did it. But we're still working every week. We're getting better every week, and it's just going to get better. Right now what you're saying is just a snippet of it. The more we learn, the more we work on our technique, you're going to see us be great.
You guys know this, but as always, I'll keep you posted on updates and have more breakdowns in the game preview video Saturday. But for now and for the Eagles, it turns out that Grant Calcaterra was dealing with an illness also, with the better news being that Dallas Goedert got in some light work in a limited session Thursday. Remember, he injured his knee on this play against the Bucs, but maybe he ends up being all right and can make it back ahead of Sunday. Then you also had Jalen Carter, Adoree Jackson, and Lane Johnson all being upgraded to full participants, which is huge for Sunday's matchup. The other uncertainty, though, is Nakobe Dean, since he's working his way back and was listed as a limited participant right now. Honestly, who knows if Nakobe Dean is legit out there this week or next week, but it did have me start thinking about we might be underplaying or undervaluing how much of a significant impact Nakobe Dean makes and getting back out there. Look, personally, I don't think Jihaad, Campbell, or Zack Baun are coming off that field unless they're injured. However, the idea of a unique package with all three linebackers could really present some challenges for opposing offensive coordinators to deal with, especially if it helps shore up the run defense that hasn't been quite up to the standard so far this season. Yet as great as that is, we're talking about last year's green dot wearer, aka, the voice of the defense. Like in no small way is it significant to get the vocal leader of the defense back on the field. Again, the green dot wearer, the leader of the defense, whether he plays or when or where he plays, it is a significant boost to the squad. Of course, with all the latest chatter and uncertainties on the directions of both sides of the ball, we figured who better to hear from than the legend himself, BG.
Friend of the show, been on multiple times. It's always great to see you talking Eagles. They're 4-0, so there's some positives there. We'll get into maybe more of the granular details and everything else, but I'm curious, BG, just to kick this thing off, because there's takes everywhere from where this team's at, thoughts on the team, how they're doing. Even though they're 4-0, what do you make so far of what you've seen 4 weeks through the season for this Eagles team?
I'm seeing that we headed towards another Super Bowl because, man, it was chaos last year. It's no different, and we 4-0. We're not even 2-2 this time, and so that's what's nice. But honestly, that's what I miss the most. I love the chaos of the guys and what's going on, and it's really about how we problem solve together to figure it out. I think they're doing a good job building. Of course, we got to get better, but that's part of the journey.
BG, you mentioned problem solving and you mentioned building and getting better. I know you're a defensive guy, but offense has been all the rave in Philadelphia the past couple of days here. I'm just curious how you have viewed the Eagles offense so far. They've had great quarters. They've had bad quarters. Are you seeing something that can really turn into maybe an offense look during the playoffs? Do they need more time? What to you is the one issue right now, however small, with Philadelphia's offense?
I think the issue is right now the fans is not giving them time to, with KP, and we still 4-0. We still figuring it out. We see that we can do it, and when it was clicking in the first half, it was great. The special teams gave us a spark. Jay and all them went out there. He was dotting everybody. Goedert had a good game, 2 touchdowns. Then it just opens up so much. We know that they're going to fill up the box for Saquon. They've been stingy with Saquon this year. They don't want him to run 2,000 yards this year, but he gonna have his breakout just like last year. I think our pass defense will get better as we continue to keep building, but you got to make sure that you are building together and can't worry about what the outside noise is talking about. But I know that the offense just need a little time because they got a new coordinator. And, of course, they got to understand how he's calling the game. And maybe he might need to get a little better with taking the seatbelt off. But that's where time is happening. And luckily, we're 4-0. And so there's no sense of panicking. We all know what the big elephant is in the room. Yes, we might need to give 11 the ball a little more. We need to scheme up some better things. Or maybe we already have that, but you got to call it. Every situation might not be warranted for certain calls, but, hey, just call it. See what happens. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I feel the patience has to come in on Eagles fans, because he is getting there and he's getting more comfortable with knowing who he has, the personnel. Even though he was there last year, now he's the play caller. Now he's paying attention to more detail. And yeah, man, you got to have patience with that. But we 4-0, and our defense is getting better every week. We got to stay off the injury list though, because that's the biggest thing. Got to stay healthy. But I'm liking what's going on so far, because chaos got us a win last year, and I think chaos is good. It's how you handle it.
There you go. You're right. The defense, shout out to them. They've been balling. Yeah. And they've still been improving, because, you go back to games, it's like, okay, sometimes, a little bit of adjustments, guys showing out. Yeah. Jordan Davis, though, let's talk about JD. You give praise to a lot of players, but I think that it was, maybe a month or two ago, whenever you came on, we were, going through the interview and me just asking you, like, hey, who are you expecting to have a big year? Do you look out for? And you talked about JD with the extension that he was getting and, trying to go out there and prove it. Some of the other guys too. But what have you seen from JD? Has it been even more of a surprise, like how because it's taken on more snaps, one, but then also the productivity level has been something we have not seen so far from JD.
Oh, yeah, and I'm loving that for him. I'm loving the game that he had against the Rams, because that's only a confidence booster for him. And so all he got to do is not get that I'm full bug of man, not even full, but just you start getting complacent because you think it's just gonna show up and stop doing what got you to that point. You got to continue to keep pressing. Got to continue to keep pushing through. I know your body tired from the game, and maybe you need to rest for one day. But when Wednesday come, when the new beginning of the week start, that's our day where we start talking about the new opponent on Wednesday. Just make sure you focus, and it's just one day at a time. Taking practice serious like you did to get to that Rams game and go out there and ball. Because what you do in practice usually shows up in the game, and sometimes better than what you did in practice. So, as long as he keep his mindset with that Mamba mentality, not getting complacent and staying strong on in the weight room and taking all his reps serious, I think he'll keep having a phenomenal year, and we need that, especially in the middle.
I want to keep the question on the defensive line and go over to sacks here really quickly because a lot of Eagle fans are wondering where the sacks are. You know, Nolan Smith's out. Yes, you're not there anymore. But they get Zadarius Smith. Josh Uche's been pretty good. Hopefully, Zizo Jalari this week. And then Vic Fangio says yesterday he's not too worried about the sacks. He thinks that they're going to come. Where are you at on how many sacks Philadelphia's had so far? Are you seeing them getting close? Do you think the floodgates are going to open up with sacks here hopefully soon?
I really do. I think we just played some of the good pocket present quarterbacks. Like you got Baker Mayfield, who's tough to get down. I mean, as you can see him in games all the time, that boy is always breaking tackles and getting out. Then you got Dak Prescott, who has great pocket presence, and we had him a couple times, but he got out our hands, and it's part of it because when you rushing, sometimes some of the situations the quarterback might step up and the lineman might push you past, and I mean it's just a chess match the whole time. And then we had Mahomes, another one that escapes the pocket, that's fast, that's really good pocket presence, and they gonna come. But we 4-0 against some of them tough teams, and man, it ain't been easy. Matthew Stafford, he usually gives up some sacks too, but he was getting rid of the ball, and we was making plays when we were supposed to. But I know that the sacks are coming, and it might start with Bo Nix this week.
We hope so, man. That's what we want to see. Absolutely.
We need 3 to 4 sacks this game for sure.
Yes.
And
I think so.
Turnovers.
There you go.
We
yes.
have been getting turnovers, though. That's one thing I say. We've been getting turnovers, and that's what I like. Jihaad making that play on the goal line right there, getting that interception, boy. That was big in that moment because they sure would have went up on us. And the way our offense was in the second half, I don't know. It would have been tough to kind of get squeeze out that one.
There's a little bit of anxiety pumping at that moment. So yeah, for him to come up big as a rookie too, you like build on that confidence. I know that, we've been kind of echoing the same things as we've also been talking about, like, hey, that you're getting the pressures, hopefully pressures eventually lead to sacks, but it's good to hear you say that. The same thing for Fangio. You get a call though from Howie, like, hey, BG, you want to come back, or do you have even, moments throughout the season you're watching that like, man, I'm missing that? Or has it been like, appreciate the journey, had such a great time, but you've fully moved on? You still miss it at all?
Yeah, I miss it, man. I love watching the boys and seeing them figure it out, knowing probably what some of them saying on the same time when you see them on the camera and they looking at the bench. I can tell in certain situations who getting cussed out, all that funny stuff, and it's cool to watch, especially when you know the team. And so I know right now it's fun to watch, man. I'm thankful to have been a part of that, man, and I know they're gonna figure it out. Howie a wizard, man. He gonna figure it out.
Thomas and I have a lot of crazy giveaways, unique giveaways, everything else here, but I gotta say this might be it probably is the most unique giveaway and unique thing that we've even discussed on this channel. So shout out to you, Jordan, for even making this thing happen. But I'm curious with the relic collection. What can you guys tell us? I guess I'll kick it off, start out with Jordan, but what can you tell us about the collection for people to get interested? We've got obviously more details in the description. Go to those links, check them out. But just kind of tell us how this thing even got started.
Yeah, so BG and I last year did our first trading card project commemorating the infamous strip sack, which we all love as Eagles fans, and that was a lot of fun. And now this year came around to this Super Bowl win, and we came together on another amazing project. And, as I've grown in the card world and more capabilities with what I can produce, we came together on this project and, didn't really know how we would get to this point. But the fact that BG was willing to part ways with these relics was amazing in itself and his way of giving back to the fans. So I was here to help make that happen and to tie it all together. And we're really excited about how it came together.
For me personally, I got to say, the card, like I like all of the Mamba one is legit for a number of reasons too. But that's actually like from your cleats of the Super Bowl? Is that right, BG?
Yeah, that is. It is. It's from the tongue of the cleat. They cut it up so nicely, and man, I wanted to pay tribute to Kobe. Wanted to make sure that I let him know. Well, not let him know, but just pay tribute from him being from Philly, and and just wanted to make sure you continue to keep talking and speaking his name because of the legacy he left.
There you go. That's awesome. I mean, especially giving back to the Eagles fans, they can get a piece of history, extra special moments there. If I'm not mistaken, though, you got a different favorite, right? Out of all those options there, do you have a favorite for the card?
Oh yeah, I do. I got the captain patch, the quad star. We got the
Look at
4-star. It's just something that's hard to get in this league, and thankful that I was able to be a captain for so long for the team, and we was able to bring two back together with the Eagles.
As far as the specs for the cards themselves, they got every card BG game worn Super Bowl jersey and cleats, over 20 plus variations, so people can get on those. Numerous chases that we mentioned. Obviously, as we've also said, go to spectorsportsart.com. People can get those. But as you also said too, this is a chance just to give back to the fans. No one's really doing anything like this, but I think as like cards collectors, there's a lot of there's uniqueness to it. But to actually have some signature options, pieces of the game worn jersey. I mean, it's history in itself, but just does it kind of make it even more real for you in the sense of like, okay, you've got all these other elements of one of the biggest moments. Obviously, there's been 2 Super Bowls, but one of the biggest moments of your career, and Eagles fans out there can get a piece of that history. Like, I guess, just talk me through kind of the emotions of that.
Man, it's my first one. That's the baby. That's the one that you make your play against Tom Brady, all that stuff. But this time around, I want to give back with this one. And that's just like when you get your first ring, Dad, this is mine. But the second one, I give you the second one. You know what I'm saying? Because of all that went in the first one. But I'm thankful that I'm able to even give because we won it. It was hard to get there, but once we got there, we put on the show, and we earned that one. And I felt like the fans earned that one too. It was a big part of it.
For people watching this right now, you got an opportunity. Just go to the comment section. Chance to win one of those. If not, it's too good to be true. Like, you got to go ahead and pick up some other ones. I'm doing it personally for my own personal collection. I know we're going to give out some as well, but Thomas and I are doing the same thing. So yes, you got to be able to check it out. You see it there, Jordan. That's the G right there from Brandon Graham. That's another option. You got to take that one. Heck
7
yeah.
Letterman cards, but the G is my favorite one out of all the letters. So one of the best right there.
There we go. Jordan, how did you even think up of? I know just kind of going through, and there's so many, and the number of comments and supporters, everything else here. But how did you think up something like that? Because again, it's like so unique. But every one of your pieces is like one of one. And here's just another thing. How did you go about getting this started?
I didn't mention it earlier, but I really like a challenge. I really like when I have the opportunity to do something new that I've never done before. And this is truly something that has never been done in the card space, actually, which I realized as we did this more and more that nobody's ever had a full-on set that includes a piece. Every single piece has a piece of this Super Bowl jersey, Super Bowl game-worn cleats and jersey. So it's really special to me to be able to have this opportunity, and I'm always up for the challenge too. So I think it came out really well.
Adding Jihaad Campbell, you talked about him earlier this offseason. He's been fantastic the first 4 weeks. Nakobe Dean, though, has been activated from the PUP list. We'll see if he plays this week, maybe next week. Any indication on how they might go ahead and rotate Nakobe Dean in there? Do you think Jihaad Campbell can play some edge at times with packages at Dean at inside linebacker? How do you think that goes the next couple of weeks?
I'm gonna let Vic Fangio figure it out. I can't wait to watch myself because it could be Jihaad go down and move around, and but they're gonna have good packages for both of them because they both bring some dynamic. And as you know, Nakobe already showed how fast he's hitting those gaps and able to, build the confidence of the coaches because of how accountable he is being in there. It's just about him staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, man, Eagles definitely got him a good one. Another good household name out there. That's been the biggest thing is him staying healthy. So I hope this time around he can make it through the season and hopefully hold that trophy on the field when they make this run.
There we go. We're hoping to see it, man. It is. It's exciting. Like you said, it's 4-0. The Eagles are 4-0. So it's like, yeah, you can be better. You do want to. You don't want to settle at any time, but they've gotten it done against good teams. So love the positivity. Because there's so much negativity anyway out there. All the criticism. So we got to stay positive, stay hopeful. The team's going to be continuing to get better, and we are undefeated. BG, you're the man as always. Appreciate you coming on. Again, to everybody else, make sure to like, subscribe, enter in the comment section, get your chance to get a piece of history from the legend himself. Get one of those cards. It's courtesy of Jordan Spector of Spector Arts. And BG, we appreciate it as always.
Thanks, BG.
Yeah. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.